The World Food Programme is warning there is only a week of supplies left for more than 2 million people besieged in Gaza after Israel announced it will cut off electricity supplies to the Strip. The move, it says, is to increase pressure on Hamas to release hostages. It's a week since Israel blocked off all aid, demanding an extension to the first phase of the ceasefire. Hamas wants negotiations over the second phase to start immediately. I'm joined by Ghada Al Haddad, part of the Oxfam team in Gaza. Ghada, thank you for joining us. Can you bring us up to date? At the moment, do you have electricity supplies in Gaza?
Thank you so much for having me. I just wanted to highlight something. Even before the start of Israel war in Gaza, we never had, I can't remember a moment when we had electricity 24/7. We used to have scheduled times of electricity, 8 times on and 8 times off. Now, with the new blockage of aids that started at the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan, we started to have more limited access to food supplies, to aid, including food, including water, including medical supplies. And I'm honestly afraid of this update. I'm honestly very afraid of this development because we are still haven't recovered from the war. We haven't recovered from the days when we went through, days without food, days without a sufficient amount of water in our homes and in our shelters.
But at the moment, have the Israelis carried out their threat to cut off the very inadequate supplies of electricity that you get? Has that happened yet?
As I told you, we never had 24 hours of electricity. This is one. We've never seen this electricity for the 24 hours, and I'm afraid of that. This threat. And especially the cuts on aids and fuel would exacerbate the already dire humanitarian conditions. We need fuel to generate electricity, to generate the desalination units, to help us in bringing food for ourselves and for our communities that we target in the Gaza Strip.
You mentioned the 2 desalination plants that supplies fresh water to the people of Gaza, and I know supplies are meager. What happens if the power is turned off for those desalination plants?
If power has been cut off from these desalination units, it means that we are going to deprive people of very, very, very basic human rights, which is water. It means that people wouldn't have access to water. Honestly, during the war, we kept rationing water. We never use water with the maximum amount. We keep rationing water for drinking. We keep rationing, using water for domestic use. We are afraid, and these threats are very alarming, that we not be able at the moment to give people water. We might not be able to provide people with a very basic, human rights that they, ought to have, which is the water, because Israel wanted that, because Israel wanted to, impose on people such siege on water, such siege on food, such siege and medical supplies.
You've had a week now without any aid getting in to Gaza because of the Israeli blockade. Paint a picture for me. How are conditions right now for those hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Gazans who were bombed out of their homes, are living in tents on the beach? We're trying to return to some kind of normality. How are things now for these people?
The conditions are really dire on the ground. Most of the food that are being distributed are getting diminishing by the day. If you find, and the prices have started to soar and increase in the market again, and this is also they become unaffordable for people who've lost their sources of income during the war. pre the war, most of, or not more than 90% of Gaza's population rely on aid and humanitarian assistance as a primary mean of living. But after this war and after this very destructive Israeli war in Gaza that destroyed our homes, our schools, our universities, our infrastructure, our water facilities, everything, the reliance on the aid supplies have become more and more. Now with this blockage on aid, it means that people do not have any ways or any means to live. Like they are really deprived of very basic human rights. They are deprived of their food. They are deprived of the water. They are deprived of the medicines, and so on and so forth. I wanted just to tell a story in terms of the medical supplies. Like my mom is over 70 years old, and she has a heart condition, and the doctors prescribe for her specific medicine. And I have navigated most of the pharmacies in the Gaza Strip for that medicine, and I couldn't find it. And it was really challenging. And every time and every now and then, the doctor have to prescribe an alternative medicine for her because we couldn't find the first medicine.
Israel has accused Hamas of diverting aid away from where it's really needed, people like your mother, and towards military use. Have you seen any evidence of that?
What is said is, we've seen Israelis using the aid as a bargaining chip or as a way to put a pressure, on the people and on the people lives and so on. The thing that we are looking forward, everyone in Gaza, humanitarian actors, Palestinian communities, and something like. That we have got, like, it becomes part of our day-to-day conversation. It's a sustainable ceasefire. We need this a sustainable ceasefire. We need this bloodshed and a bloodbath and all of this to stop. We are now thinking the war might start again. And the war wasn't that easy war. Like it was the starvation, it was displacement, it was fear, it was loss, it was many aspects this war unfold in front of us.
Israel says a quick way out of this appalling position for the people of Gaza is for Hamas to release the hostages. Can you see that happening at all?
We are seeing kind of collective punishment for the Palestinian communities here in Gaza. Like Israel is putting all people here in a prison, and an open air prison, and they have been in an open air prison for over 18 years. People were deprived of educational opportunities. The people were deprived of evacuation to receive medical health services. People were deprived of, reunification with their family members abroad or in the West Bank or elsewhere.
Neither Israel nor Hamas can seem to agree on what the next stage of the ceasefire should look like. Do the people of Gaza fear that they are heading back to a resumption of the war?
Yes, everyone in Gaza is very afraid and concerned that the war would resume again at any moment, and are afraid that the events of the war, the airstrikes, the missiles, the artillery shells, the random artillery shells will resume again. Many, like everyone in Gaza has someone who he or she lost it during the war, whether a relative or a friend or colleague, and I'm sure they have like good memories with those people. And still we cannot get recovered from the 15 months of very brutal campaigns, military campaigns of airstrikes, artillery shells, and others. No one in Gaza would or everyone in Gaza is afraid of the idea of resumption of this war, and everyone is looking forward a hopeful future, a brighter one.
Okay, Ghada, thank you very much for your time from Oxfam in Gaza there.